Hey guys, welcome to Fishing with the K's. If you're new to the channel, my name is Johnny, and today we're going to talk a little bit about how I prepare for an upcoming fishing trip. You know, it's middle of June, and it's very busy here in Middle Tennessee, and all the lakes are going to be packed over, pretty much every weekend. In particular, this weekend out at Old Hickory Lake, there's going to be a BFL. So for those who are not familiar with that, it's like Bass Fishing League. It's part of the MLF organization, and there's going to be a few boats out on Old Hickory Lake, along with jet skis and pontoon boats, wake boats, and all other fun stuff. And so the way that me and my buddies like to escape all this is fish early in the morning and fish a different part of the lake. And so let me show you what we got going on with Old Hickory Lake. So if you're not familiar with Old Hickory Lake, it is made up by the Cumberland River, and it eventually gets dammed up south of Hendersonville here, and it gets dammed up to make basically Old Hickory Lake through the Cumberland River. And so all this area right here and all these little pockets and coves will be super busy over this weekend. And so me and my buddies haven't really fished much of the river section on the upper end of Cumberland River or the Old Hickory Lake, and so we found a boat ramp over here by 231. Let me see if he'll come up here. So the boat ramp that we're going to launch from is Hunters Point Access Area. I've never launched from this boat ramp before, so I'm using Google Earth to kind of get a lay of the land and develop a game plan. And so as you can see here, this is the standard view that most of you are probably used to seeing. One of the things I like to do is just flip to this satellite view and get a little bit better understanding of what we're working with. And so what I'm doing here is just checking out the boat ramp, seeing how big the boat ramp is, seeing what the dock is like, and it appears that it's off a major road here, so I don't feel too sketched out by it by launching from this boat ramp. I'm going to flip back to this view as I feel like this view is a little bit easier to follow along. And so I think once I leave out of Hunters Point access area, I'm going to go upstream. As you can see here, not too far from that is Cedar Creek. And so this area actually looks pretty decent. I've never been in this area before, but as you can see, there's some secondary points, little coves and pockets, trees and points, and all the other fun stuff. And so since this isn't too far from the boat ramp, probably going to start here early in the morning. Just got this area called Blown Out Bridge, so I'm wondering if there used to be a bridge that went across through here. As you can see, there's another boat ramp in this area, but again, another real small boat ramp, and I try to avoid those when I can. Let me zoom up out on a map here and kind of talk you through how I break down a lake or a river section. But as you can see, this going up this way is upstream, and so the river and the current is going to come down this way. And so I'm probably going to start off at the mouth of this creek. Anytime where the river bends or there's a creek, the mouth of a creek, I feel like that's a high percentage area. And so spend a few minutes of the morning throwing the top water in the pocket of Cedar Creek here. Another good spot after we leave Cedar Creek might be this Cedar Creek Island. You know, the current's going to come this way, and the current's going to hit really hard on this north end of this island. And so that should be a really good spot. It'd be interesting to see what the depths and the contours are like. You know, one of the things that I'll typically do when I go to a lake is bring up web navionics, but I feel like navionics is not all that great in this river section because in the middle it's 30 feet and just kind of tapers its way out and gets shallow. And so again, this Cedar Creek Island might be good as the current's heading it. And then we'll run north. It looks like there's another little pocket here, small creek. I'm not sure what that is, but you know, another potential area where you know, some fish might hold and wait for bait to come down river there. So another good spot there. And then you know, when I'm fishing these river systems, again, just hitting each of these little mouth of each creek or a branch. If you've been fishing for a while, I'm sure you're familiar with this pattern. Then as we're going up the river here, I'm looking for bluff walls, rocks, and chunk rocks anywhere that a fish will hold. And again, I like to fish channel swings. And so when I'm talking about channel swings, like right here, this mouth, this creek should be a good spot. As the river comes down here and it swings back out, this right here is another high percentage spot. That water is generally a little bit deeper, and it'll create a hard spot where those fish like to set up. And again, they're just waiting for food to come to them. You got another island here, Whitney Island. Again, that current's gonna hit here. That'd be a good another high percentage spot. And again, as it bends here, like I'm gonna hit this spot, right? I'm gonna put my boat up here and go up current and bring my lure down current and see if we can catch a spotted bass or a smallmouth or two. When we're fishing the river, I feel like we typically catch smallmouth and spotted bass. Every once in a while, we'll land a largemouth, but I have a feeling tomorrow we're gonna catch a bunch of little 10-inch spots. And so again, another creek channel bend here, a bunch of little islands. I've never fished this area before, and so again, just doing a little research prior to launching tomorrow. The weather should be pretty decent. Looks like we got another little campsite here. Look like a little decent little creek, another boat ramp, little pockets, points, lots of potential. So it's going to be interesting. Again, I'm just going to fish these little swings. I'm not sure how far we'll go. Maybe this Trousdale County Park might be a good stopping point, as there's a lot of water to cover prior to that. And so again, just out here in the garage getting tackle together, and I just wanted to kind of talk through what the fishing plans were for this weekend, mid-June, fishing in Middle Tennessee. And if y'all still stay tuned, I'm gonna put away the laptop and maybe try to show you the lures that I'm gonna fish here, and we'll see which one produces tomorrow. Hang tight. All right, I was gonna show you the rods that I throw these lures on, but it's kind of cumbersome to show them in front of the camera and not knock over a bunch of stuff. But if you're interested, you have to let me know in the comments if you want to see the rod, reel, and line setup that I use to throw these lures on to catch some of these fish. And so that's the plan, at least tomorrow, is to catch a fish or two. Won't we start off with a moving bait in the morning? And so again, early in the morning, I'm gonna start off by throwing a top water, and the top water I'm gonna choose is a whopper plopper. This is the size 90. I like this bait because I can just throw it out there and chug and whine, and I don't have to work it a whole lot. I ain't got to worry about keeping it above or keep it floating, because it naturally floats. And so hopefully this draws up some big ones early in the morning. So I'll probably start off again with a whopper plopper. One of my go-to confidence baits, especially around the springtime, is throwing a swim bait. And so this is a Kitech Fat Impact. I think this is the 3.2 version on a VMC 3/16 or 1/4 ounce jig head. So depending on the depth of the water, I may throw that guy. I typically don't like to throw this in water less than 5-6 feet. I don't know if I'll be fishing that shallow or not, but that's just a swim bait on a regular jig head hook. I do like this one because the line tie is not just straight up; it's at an angle. I don't think this is a 60 degree or 40. I don't think it's 45, but it does have a slight angle, as you can see there. Again, Kitech Fat Impact. I also like the Kitech on a little underspin. This one's a little bit lighter, and so if the water's a little bit dirty and I need a little bit more attention, I'll throw this guy. And so again, don't know what the water's like. We are getting some rain out there. I don't think it's raining a whole lot. I'll choose one of those swim baits based on the conditions. I also like a fast moving bait. For my crankbaits to cover a lot of water. I probably have on a little square bill made by Rapala. This one dives down about 5 feet. I'm using probably use a crawl pattern tomorrow as we're fishing the river section, and I feel like there's more crawdads and dark looking stuff on the river section versus a shad color. And again, this one will go to about 5 feet depending on the line you use. And then if I need to get a little bit deeper, a Spro rock crawler is my go-to. This guy dives down to about 12 feet. I generally throw it on 12-pound tests, and got a lot of confidence in this guy. It's got a lot of erratic action. You know, if it hits stuff, it has a nice little deflection, and if I get it hung up, I feel like I can generally get this lure back out. You know, if I need to slow it down a little bit and drag the bottom, my current plan is to maybe throw a half-inch Kitech finesse bait. This is paired up with a Strike King Rage Crawl, and these appendages have a ton of action as it falls through the water. Depending on the fall rate or depending on how the fish wants it, you know, I may downsize and go to a 1/4 ounce, but this one's a 1/2 ounce to get down there a little bit deeper water. I like the small little profile, as you know, fishing pressure in the summertime can be a little tough. And then lastly, you know, things get really desperate and I need to throw a worm around. I'll probably put it on a little shaky head, as you can see here. This shaky head is made by Picasso Lures. This is what the packaging looks like. I basically carried in 2 sizes, an 1/8 ounce and a 3/16 ounce. And so if you're not familiar with this type of jig head, it's a little different. You know, I think they call it the Rhino, but it's supposed to protect your line. It's supposed to be less snaggy. I like the 1/8 ounce fishing the river if it's not too much current, as it has a nice slow fall and is less likely to get hung up in the rocks. And so those are some of the lures that I'll have tied on tomorrow. Keep it very basic and simple. If you want to see if we can catch any, make sure you stay tuned for the next video. If you enjoyed this one, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll talk to y'all soon. We'll see you later. Bye.